To that show. Ooh, JJ and Deacon, they're the ones in the know. Subscribe quick, the Squid Monster's on the way. Inspire with us, tomorrow's news today.
Like Joe Biden is offering to pay the entire cost of the bridge, but not out of his pocket. It's out of yours. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I'm JJ. That's Deacon. That's my dog right here. We are back. It is Thursday morning, 8 o'clock. We are on time. Okay. And we got plenty of little stories to talk about, but this one I saw was like, hold up. When did we agree to this? Like who paid for the bridge in the first place? And then who broke it? And why am I paying for it right now?
Right.
So Joe Biden is a old man. All right. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Deacon. Good morning to Dave. Dave, if you're out there, I threw you a link to the show. You can join us. Let's just get this out of the way. Probably not gonna have a show tomorrow. Tomorrow's Good Friday. Good Friday. You know what Good Friday is, Deacon. That's the day when all the good people murdered Jesus, hung him on a cross, and we celebrate that. That's terrible. But really, it's because, he died for your sins. And then Sunday he got up.
I started to say, I think it has a different meaning to Christians, but yes, it is a very important Christian holiday. It is, I consider it the one of the foundational celebrations of the Christian faith, if you could say celebration, because it's the Christian faith is founded on Jesus being resurrected. Right, being the Son of God and being resurrected and coming back to life, and this is in celebration of that. So yeah, it's like this is the day the bill was paid, and then Sunday is the day the goods got delivered. So today, bill paid. It's like 3-day shipping. Yes, 3-day shipping of Jesus. This is the point of the year that they celebrate that. So,
all right. Okay, let's get into the first story. We're going to have to talk. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll talk about the logistics stuff afterwards, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I did get Dave like superpowers over on the YouTube channel. I don't know what he can do. I have no idea. Apparently, he can do polls or something. I got no idea. I don't know. Okay. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Today's this is wrong. Today's top story. Well, first story anyway. Check this out, Deacon. Let me see give us your thoughts on this. Why is it not showing?
It's showing. Restream's being dumb today because you sound weird.
Of course I do. Joe Biden, quote-ish, paraphrased, government will pay the entire cost of rebuilding Baltimore Bridge. Okay. That seems a little like, well, who owned the bridge in the first place? I assume Baltimore did, right? I assume Baltimore built it.
Yeah, the bridge was built to basically transport hazardous materials. Like that was the main thing, was to transport hazardous material. Cars and stuff could go across the bridge, but it transported hazardous materials, fuel, gas, stuff like that, and also oversized loads that would require special permits and a lot of complications going through the tunnels and stuff.
So I'm not saying that we shouldn't pay for it. I'm saying, how come he just decided that, and why don't we get to like have a voice in it? Maybe Baltimore doesn't want the federal government to own their bridge, when they rebuild it. I don't know. I mean, certainly we have a big problem to clean out. We got bridge laying in the water. Traffic can't happen. Obviously, you can't go across the bridge when it's not there. And there's recovery efforts of missing people. So these are all like big issues. But I mean, I feel like we ought to have at least a little powwow about who pays for what. President Joe Biden said the government would pay the entire cost of the Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland, after a cargo ship hit the bridge and caused it to collapse early Tuesday morning. Here's your quote. "It's my intention that we pay for the entire cost of reconstructing that bridge. I expect the Congress to support my effort," Biden said at a White House press conference. "It's going to take some time, and people of Baltimore can count on us, though, to stick with that every step of the way until the port is reopened and the bridge is rebuilt. We're not leaving until this job is done.
Sorry, I meant
Wow.
to mute my mic.
That's cool.
to hear all
Yeah,
that.
you got yeah. You got somebody there? You got the handling stuff?
Coworker from the other radio station came in
Oh,
to
okay.
grab some stuff. What I was getting at was that it would require special permits and whatnot to get through the tunnels and stuff like that. So they built that bridge to do that. And did you hear what Joe said yesterday about the bridge? Why does Joe Biden always, a long time ago, someone told Joe Biden about public speaking. One of the things about public speaking is if you can assert yourself, if you can make yourself, like if you've got a problem and you're complaining about, something, I need to cope with you. Oh, I understand your problem, JJ, because that has also affected me. Why does Joe Biden always have to take the stage when something like that happens? Maui burns down. He talks about the little fire in his garage that almost burned his whole death. He does it every single time, and he done it here yesterday, and he screwed up. Because he said, "Oh, the Baltimore Bridge or the Francis Scott Key Bridge. I've been across that bridge many times by car and rail."
Right.
By rail? Really? You went by rail? Were you on your little?
Really?
Yeah. I can get the freaking thing. There's not a railroad track across that bridge, so I'd like to know how you went across it by rail. Maybe you were on a train in your little make believe mind.
Yeah. So it's all part of the thing that is a sociopath that pretends to be a human being.
Exactly.
And Joe Biden has been pretending to be a normal human being for decades, and he's got like probably a $80,000 veneer grin and a bunch of hair plugs or whatever, and has improved his look on camera. He's like balding and. Well, when he was younger.
The disguise technology has become, it's unreal anymore. I can make you look just like Joe Biden, JJ. So that's why he always looks different. There was an old man that came to the radio station the other day. He's an old man. He's in his late 70s, early 80s, and he loves me. And he was sitting there talking for a while, and he hates Joe Biden. And he was talking about Joe Biden. I said, Mike, when the fake Joe Biden walks out there, don't you? He said, oh, yeah, I can tell which one's the fake Joe Biden, which one's the real one. Good, because I was going to point out how to do that.
Okay. Let's see. And we got Transportation Secretary Buttigieg. This guy, can you imagine? Can you even think of one thing that he's been involved with that hasn't been an absolute disaster? Not one. This guy doesn't show up until like everything is on fire. And we have the train wreck, right? We have the train wreck up. What was that? Ohio? It was East Palestine.
What train wreck, JJ? What are you talking about? I don't remember a train wreck.
Right. And I think and we have planes falling out of the sky right now. Falling apart in the sky right now. So we got that, and now we've got and on the runway. And now we've got boats crashing into bridges. Well, boat crashing into bridge, but hopefully it does not happen again. And that's not even a thing to make fun of, but this is the reality. People in power are going to use massive tragedies to persuade you to surrender more money and more capital and more power.
No matter how those massive tragedies happen, be it natural or man-made.
Right.
And I'm not, I told you, we speculated yesterday on the, what happens what happens elsewhere now that this bridge is gone, what happens to the bay, what happens to all those. And we are not the only ones that speculated on that yesterday, because everything that I looked at yesterday, they were asking questions on the same topic, but it was questions that we didn't ask, that we didn't know. That they were talking about the harbor masters, they were talking about the pilots, they were talking about the fact that the boat was Ukrainian, or the pilot was Ukrainian, and now when you go to look it up, all that information's gone. It doesn't say that it was there, and now it's gone. The owner of the company that owned the ship was Mitch McConnell's. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see this. No. What's going on?
Oh, hang on. You're gonna love
So
this.
there's a lot of conspiracy fuel, but I'm gonna maintain
Oh, wait a minute.
I'm gonna maintain. I think it was probably just negligence and an accident, and negligence, and like poor maintenance, and maybe poorly trained crew.
You keep those blinders on, and I'll
That's
take
the
mine
thing that
off.
makes the most sense. You have to make assumptions about that.
With blinders on
Okay.
and off. So McConnell's sister-in-law, who recently drowned in her Tesla, is listed as the CEO of the company that owns the ship that hit the bridge. McConnell's sister that recently drowned, the ship Dolly that hit the bridge is owned by the company, and Angela Chow is listed as its CEO. That comes from Grok. That's
His sister died. When did his sister die?
Like 2 weeks ago. Like 2 weeks ago.
2
weeks ago, she drowned in a Tesla, and then I'm just telling you the facts. I'm not. I'm just slowly trying to take those blinders and kind of move them a little bit.
Okay, all right. So let me just ask you, Deke. I mean, like, I mostly am just thinking like the public should have like a conversation about like how much and who is responsible. Look, it's a disaster. Like nobody is. I mean, maybe the ship captain's responsible, the company that owns it's responsible, or whatever. But when it comes to this cleanup effort and rebuilding this bridge, like, shouldn't we at least have a conversation about who's going to pay for it and how much we're going to pay?
So I posted 3 videos that I know you didn't watch yesterday in our Discord server that you can get to over JJ's head. I posted 3 videos because it was in 3 parts, and it was this guy talking about certain things, and he pointed out he got into the system because you can, I guess, whatever, get into it, and he showed you the computerized map of how that ship took off from its port. All right. It took off and it had to turn around because the ocean is this way.
Yeah.
And it's facing this way. So it had to turn around, and then you go through a channel, and it documented when that ship lost power. It documents on there when it lost power, but it shows you the route that it's taking. And that ship changed its course before it lost power. Changed its course from the straight line going out to the ocean, changed its course just slightly before it lost power. And then it ends up getting power and whatnot. So they took the video of the ship, the actual, like one of the stationary videos. If you hadn't seen this, I'm going to look it up while you're talking. They took one of the actual stationary videos of the ship. You know how it's going kind of slow and slow and slow, and then it hits it, right? Well, they sped it up. And when you actually watch the ship sped up, it looks like it turned directly into that pylon. There was no, it looked like it turned directly into it when you watch it sped up. Let me see if I can find the video real quick.
Okay, well, I'm going to read this. Let's see. Biden said he spoke with Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg and told him, "We're going to spend all the federal resources they need as we respond to this emergency." I mean, all the federal resources, and we're going to rebuild that port together. He said the rescue operation was top priority, and that is this Biden? Yeah, it is. It's still Biden. Jeez. He says we need to clear that channel before the ship traffic can continue, and that's true. It's also the top port in America for both imports and exports of automobiles and light trucks. Around 850,000 vehicles go through that port every year, and we're going to get it up and running as soon as possible. 15,000 jobs depend on that port, and we're going to do everything we can to protect those jobs and help those workers. The bridge is critical for travel. 30,000 vehicles cross the Francis Scott Key Bridge on a daily basis. It's virtually one of the most important elements for our economy in the Northeast and the quality of life. So, I mean, I'm not saying that bridge is unimportant. It certainly is. Okay, what do you got?
Let me see if I can pull it up here. I don't know how to make it bigger.
Oh, you're on. What is that? That's TikTok, right? All right.
It's just a video that they've put on there.
Sure. We can do We can do.
Can you see
this.
can you
Makes
see it?
Slightly bigger. Yeah, that's a.
Isn't that odd?
Yeah. So I think
watch
probably
again.
what was happening was it. Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like they're trying to turn around and turn to go under the. Oh, and the power was out and they got it back on, but they were already turning. Oh, look, go back. Go back to, okay. Okay. Go. It's power's on and then pause it right there. See, they lost control again.
They lost power
They lost
twice.
control.
But let me point out something. Yes, you're right. They did lose control. But have you ever driven a boat? I have.
Mm,
All right, I'll just say I have many times.
Okay.
I live in the lakes area. We live in a river area. What the crap?
Okay.
And I've driven a
Sorry,
boat
that's
many
me.
times. That boat is going this way, and then it loses power.
Yeah.
You said lose control. Boats are not like cars. They don't just, I've lost power. I'm going left. It's going to continue on that straight path that it was going. And that boat, when it
Right.
lost power, it turned. It
It looked to me like it was already in a turning maneuver, which means that the fins underneath would have been angled to make a steep turn, and then it lost power. So yeah, it has inertia, but it's also being kind of directed. That's what it looked to me. So
and we both don't have a
power on,
clue.
power off. Yeah, we don't. And then power on. They're trying to turn, and then see they're turning, and then power off. They lost control.
See, this is what I don't understand. The boat is going, and it looks like from that angle, it very well may miss the pylon, and then it
except
actually
it had already started turning
towards it. It's not real hard. Once he's at this angle, it's harder to go more right than it would be to go slightly more left to avoid it. It's like
that's
it deliberately went into it. If I was piloting a boat, I would have gone a little bit more to the left to try to avoid it, not right to try
maybe if your boat is losing power, maybe you turn the engines off and stop driving.
But here's something else that you don't think about is that there's certain channels and bays and stuff, and it very well may needed to stay in that one channel, and it was trying to turn to come back to that channel. But in that situation, I think I would have probably tried to shore the freaking boat, run the boat aground in the lower channel, in the shallower channel, than to hit the damn bridge.
Right.
There's just a lot of questions that we still have that we don't know.
The current recovery operations are attempting to locate the black box or whatever. So we're going to get like data on this soon. I think it'll be.
Well, we will get
some amount of the.
We will get some sort of data, whether that's I'm sure they'll find the passport completely not burned right there in the wreckage. So I'm sure it won't be waterlogged at all. They'll find all the information and it won't be destroyed.
Okay. All right. Well, I maintain it looks like a real tragic mishap, and certainly, but I know people have like conspiracies of intent, but a lot of times a malicious intent looks exactly the same as dumb people losing control and not being able to reassert control.
But I'm not one of those. I don't think we need to be in the society. I think our society now doesn't need to be like, oh, that's just a dumb person out of control. I think because of what has happened in our society in the past 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, we need to be like, I don't think that was a dumb person. I think that was probably malicious. You know what I mean? I hate to be that way, but we have to be that way.
You're right. And a lot of time,
walking around.
A lot of times there are things that are the cause of malicious people around the world. Unfortunately, in the United States and elsewhere, a lot of times those malicious people are the CIA. So, we're all looking for boogeymen around the world, and we're paying for the boogeymen.
And a lot of times these things are made to look like it was a disaster and people die.
Yeah.
You automatically get empathy from the people.
Right.
You want to get You want to get empathy from the people, and you do something like this happens that you do empathy, but people don't understand. we are blinded by the empathy and by the emotion.
Right.
We don't see the original intent of this. And the intent might be 6 steps down, blow the bridge, stops the traffic, does this, going to make fuel prices increase, is going to do this. And is in what we wanted to do was increase the amount of blah, blah X that's going to be coming in 2 years from this. We don't see the big picture. We just see what's in front of us, and we are governed by our emotions. And we're like, oh, fridge, empathy, goodness. And it's not that I'm not empathetic. I'm the most cryingest man on earth. But I'm serious. I do. I cry all the freaking time. But it's just, you have to keep your freaking eyes open. You can't just be like, oh, it was.
Well, I think that especially in a time when forces are at work to manipulate you, we need to be vigilant to not react to things. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, we don't need to jump to conclusions. We need to be like skeptical and scrutinous of everything. So let's see. We got a bunch of other stories we want to get to here. Simon & Schuster are withdrawing a contract for a major book about Joe Biden's presidency. So if you were hoping to get a detailed memoir of Joe Biden's presidency, it's not going to be from Simon & Schuster, because apparently the market lacks interest in that particular subject. So Simon & Schuster has terminated his contract with Alex Thompson, Axios' national political correspondent, for a book centered on Joe Biden's administration, signaling a challenging market for Biden-related literature. I think we all kind of have this underlying assumption that Biden-related books and a book about the Biden administration is going to be 99.9 horseshit. So nobody wants it.
No, I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. We got some Donald Trump stories. Love Donald Trump. Deke, the Alvin Bragg, the Letitia James case. The Letitia James case, which is out of New York. That's the one where the judge Troll Ingeron awarded nobody $454 million, but Trump definitely has to pay. Yeah. The bond got reduced to $174 million. Well, this is based on the fraudulent overestimation of his buildings in New York. Okay, so the way that the case was that Trump said, I have these buildings. I've got like $1 billion of buildings. I need to get a loan. And the banks were like, okay, well, here's a loan. And then Trump paid him back and everybody was happy. And Letitia James says he overvalued those buildings. That's fraud, even though that's not how anything works. And the bank has its own due diligence. Okay, so Jon Stewart returned to The Daily Show, and he made fun of Trump for committing fraud on the American people, or at least on American banks.
It's Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart. So Tim Pool yesterday on the show, kind of live, looked it up, tweeted it out. Looks like actually press picked it up because it's kind of funny. So Tim Pool said, well, I bet Jon Stewart sold some real estate in New York. He just sold a penthouse for like $17.5 million a couple years ago. I wonder if that was overvalued. So check this out. Deke. Jon Stewart of The Daily Show is found to have overvalued his New York home after accusing Trump of lying about property values. Okay. So on Monday's show, so this is just like a couple days ago, he said Trump lied about the value of his home. In 2014, the comedian sold his 6,280 square foot Tribeca duplex to a financier, whatever, $17.5 million. But according to the 2013 to 14 assessor records obtained by the Post, the property had estimated market value of only $1.882 million. The actual assessor valuation for the property was $847,000, but he sold it for $17.5 million. Now this is so Deke, you own a home, I think. I'm pretty sure you own a home. I own a home. The market value, and your wife's a realtor, right? The market value.
And if you are looking to buy a home in Kentucky, please DM me. I'm required to say that every time.
Okay, so the entire Letitia James case is based on fraud because the market value of Trump's properties are different than the assessed tax value of the properties. The government says this is how much it's worth, and that's how much tax you pay. And Trump said the market value of my building is like $800 billion or whatever amount.
So basically,
they don't match.
Well, the reason they don't match is because you have two people that is guessing the value of a home that are probably don't need to be guessing the value of a home. And the value of a home differs because a $2 million house in California is worth about $150,000 here, maybe. And I'm not even making that up. And probably a little more in the past 3 years because they skyrocketed. Ashley and I were looking for a home for about 4 years. She was a realtor, so we had to be picky on the homes, and we had the Brady Bunch family, so we had 5 kids, so we had to get a lot of bedrooms and a lot of, a couple of bathrooms and whatnot. And we've got some animals, so we had to have some yards, so we were picky. And we actually came across a couple that we had to back down from because she had clients that were interested in. So we were like, crap, So when we got our home, it was right before everything started to go up. It was right as it was happening. I overbid for the house because I was bidding against about 5 people, and I got the house. We got the house and the property. It's worth almost $100,000 more than I paid for it now in 2 years. Because that's how much. Alex and I drove by we were driving through Benton yesterday going home, and there was a for sale sign in this little yard in this little house, and it's not in a great neighborhood at all. It's not in a great neighborhood, but the house has been worked on because we go down this little side road to cut over to Walmart real quick. And we've seen it been worked on, and it's a cute little house on the outside. And then Alex goes, as we drove by yesterday, he goes, because he's with his mom all the time. He goes, do you know how much they're selling that house for? I was like, He said $175,000. I was like, oh my God. They're selling that house.
Really?
That house is on the market. That's in a terrible neighborhood. The house looks great from the outside, blah, 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 but it's in a terrible neighborhood. He said, yeah. I said, I wouldn't pay. That house is worth $80,000 at the max. But because of what has happened in this world in the past 3 years, it's now worth $175,000, and it won't be on the market very long. It will be sold really quickly. Ashley's biggest problem for a while and still kind of is she goes, I don't have enough houses to sell. I don't have enough houses to show everybody that's wanting to look for houses. So
that's a great problem to have.
That's what I told her. I was like, oh, that's actually
as a realtor.
And let me tell you, as the spouse of a realtor, they work all the time, and this crap that went through the Congress and everybody's misinterpreted and all this crap. You don't understand what you're doing. Ashley has worked so much. She don't have 9 to 5. She is 24 hours a day, and I sacrifice a lot of time with her for, I've got to show houses after work, after people get off work and on weekends. And we'll be sitting there watching a TV show like we watch We Are Family and what's the other game show? Oh, The Masked Singer. We watch those on Hulu, and we try to catch up. And it's just a fun thing that me and her watch because we're musicians. And she will have to pause it all the time because she'll get a work call in the middle. So people don't understand about realtors and stuff. They work all the freaking time. They work really, really hard.
Hey, hello, Joey. Welcome. Worth equals what a willing buyer and seller agree upon.
Let me tell you, if you want to get somebody on the show that can educate us both on real estate, it is my buddy Joey right there. Joey is a realtor himself.
Come be on the show.
He knows. He knows.
Yeah. I mean, and look, anybody that has ever engaged in any sort of purchase of property knows that there's, and then paid taxes on it. They know that there's a difference. They know there's a difference.
I see these
because I paid so much for my house, and every year the city sends me a letter that says, "Hey, we think your property is worth this much, and now you owe us this much taxes." And I'm like, taxes, and I hate this. I hate this city.
Yeah.
Can I take my house somewhere else? Yeah. So look, the entire Trump case is bogus, and they all know it. But the Democrats up there are suspending the rules of reality so that they can get Trump. the fallout is going to be, it's going to set huge precedents that's going to like destroy real estate in New York, which is hilarious.
Well, you can get deep into that because you look at these houses and they inflate the prices to where the average person can't afford a freaking house for their family. And then I'm going to have to go here in just a second. And then what happens when the house? What happens when the house stays on the market for 10? I'll play another song. It's not a big deal. What happens when the house stays on the market for a long time and doesn't sell? Well, one of these big, huge companies come in and they offer what they're selling because the house has been on the market for a year and a half or something, and these big companies buy it and sell it out. And that's what happens, because if you want to sell your house and you're trying and no one's been able to get it for, a year or whatnot, you've lowered the price, you've done this. That's what happens with the market. People don't understand. I wanted to tell this story since JJ is on the phone. I'll tell this story about a real estate experience. There was a couple that Ashley, realtor, showed. She showed them houses, like 5 to 6, 7 houses every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 3 or 4, every weekend for like 2 months. She worked hard trying to find these people a house for their family. They had a big family too, and they were living in a little trailer, and she was working hard to try to help these people. And she worked, driving here, driving there. We spent all this money in gas, time, sacrificed all this stuff. They bought a house with another realtor. All of that gas money, all of that time sacrificed for a month. We even went to one of their church potlucks one time. She was like, they're having a church potluck. We went, bought some bread at their little church auction thing that they were having, and they bought a house with another realtor. And when I see those people in Walmart, I have to bite my tongue because I know if I say something, it's going to look bad on her. But I was like, I want to go up to him and be like, you owe me $50 gas money. Ashley worked hard and she didn't get anything. So realtors don't get paid until they sell that house and that contract. And then once they get paid, she has to give money to this person, and this person before she takes her cut. And then she takes her cut, and then she's got to take a third of it and stick away to give to the government here at the end of the year. Yeah. We get 2/3 of what was left. And people think, they're getting 6%. They're not getting 6%. They're not getting 3%.
Okay, so let's talk more about infrastructure here, stuff for a second. We'll change stories. So, Deacon, we kind of have a theme this week of like our fragile infrastructure, and I just saw this story, and I was like, well, I did not know that. Look at where's the share? Where's the show? Check this out. Commercial trucks, semi trucks are vulnerable to cyber attacks. I had no idea. I know that, we got our electricity system, a grid that is not robust. We got our water system, sanitation, all of that not robustly secured, infrastructure. I had no idea that our trucks, which can drive around, they're fine. Apparently, they are also vulnerable to cyber attacks. A cybersecurity engineer says that entire fleets of trucks could be disabled, which would have like you cut off trucks for like 3 days and people can't get chicken and green peas and whatever food into cities. You can have cities collapsing real fast.
Yep.
So apparently modern commercial trucks are required by law to be equipped with electronic logging devices.
Yep.
And those logging devices are vulnerable to wireless communication attacks. And so if you can take over that, then you can use it to take over other things and disable the engine or something like that.
I've got family that are truck drivers. My dad, after he retired from the tire factory, he drove a truck over the road for years to Texas, Canada, Vermont, all over the place. And he, at the time, they did not have the electronic logging, and so he would have to log certain things.
A little paper book.
Yeah,
you stop. You can't drive so far within 8 hours. You have to log everything. So
now,
the logging devices are like, that makes life a lot easier for.
They also have on these trucks, you may realize, or you may notice, you may have not noticed that sometimes the trucks on the interstate will only be going like 66, 68 miles an hour. They're not going very fast. Yeah, they have governors. Those trucks have governors on them, and those governors stop the truck from going faster than a certain mile per hour. So those trucks cannot just, because a lot of those guys work on miles. So if they make X amount of money per certain miles and they can get 80 miles an hour down the highway, no, that causes all kinds. It's caused we we put governors on those trucks.
I really thought the loads were like $30,000 for the load or whatever. You know, maybe it depends on.
It's different. Yeah, it's all.
I just don't know. But you know what? Here's another infrastructure thing to think about. Like, you know, we have power generation. What do we got? We got coal. We burn coal. We got nuclear in some places. We got wind farms. We got solar farms. That's how we make power now. And something like a solar farm, well, that seems like a good idea. We'll use the sun and we'll capture energy, and then we'll have some juice to run all this other stuff on. Now, the solar farms can take up a lot of room, right? You got a lot of room. So there's a solar farm in West Texas that's like the size of, like, let's see, what does it say? It was like hundreds of football fields. It's enormous, like 3,500 acres or something like that. Massive solar farms. But you're getting energy for free. You just have the investment of the equipment. But what happens, I wonder, when a storm comes through? So check this out. This is from Boken is Adventure. And I guess I'll play the sound for a little bit here.
Jay Solar Farm, which is located just west of there. So we took a ride out there today to take a look.
They had this massive storm at like 4 a.m, and then they went out to the solar farm.
And yes, I am driving. We headed on out to the Fighting Jay's solar farm out towards Damon. And look at the damage here. You can see this is just a preliminary video. Every single solar panel is damaged.
Every single solar panel on this farm.
Look at the hail hits.
Look at that. Every single solar panel on the farm was hit by hail. This 3.5-inch hail, and this solar farm, like something like over 3,000 acres of solar panels, smashed by hail in the middle of the night. Well, now you have no power. You have no power. Hey, Deke's listening to some groovy jams over there.
Sorry.
So, I mean, that's just another example of the future, like the future we're all looking forward to. Free power from the sun, free power from wind farms. Yeah, unless it's cloudy or raining or hail, and then it just gets destroyed. I mean, what do? We put like a big tent over the solar panels to keep the hail off? That seems like
what if I told you a hypothetical story that for about the past 200 years, we have taken free power that humans have always known about, and we have miseducated the public, and we have taken that free energy that we all knew about, and we have marketed it so that you have to pay for it. What do you think about that hypothetical
free
story?
Power?
Do you think
that would, how?
All kinds of different ways. I don't know. Do you have
we've only had electricity for like 150 years, maybe.
We have? We have? Because remember what I said about miseducating people?
Okay. Yeah.
And so we all think we only had electricity for 100 for the last.
Let me say this. We've only had light bulbs for like 150 years.
Okay.
Light bulbs.
Yeah, we've proved that I don't need a fucking filament to create light. I've got one shining in my face right here. It doesn't have a filament in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Light bulb was just the first step. What I'm saying, take a battery tester. Do you have a battery tester?
Okay.
A little too
Test
the battery.
Yeah.
Take a battery tester and stick it in the ground outside, and hold one end and stick the other end in the soil and see what the energy reading is. Okay.
Okay.
And now I want you to turn it off. Take off your shoes. Take off your socks and put your bare feet on the ground, and then do the same thing and see what the reading is, and then tell me.
Oh, really?
Do it today. Do it with your girls.
I don't have that with me right now. So just give me a TLDR. What am I gonna find out?
What do you think you're gonna find out? Nothing. It's gonna be the same reading.
If you touch grass, you're gonna get voltage.
You are energy. The world is energy. You need to connect with the world every once in a while. Watch that thing go up. Watch the energy. Watch it go up. You're
It
doing the exact
seems-
same thing, except you're just taking off your shoes and putting your skin to the ground. Just try it. Just try it. Just try it.
It seems like you're suggesting that the invention of tennis shoes is discharging us from the energy of the earth.
Not the invention of tennis shoes, but anything covering the skin touching the earth. That's just what my hippie ass believes. You don't have to believe it, and that's fine. I'm not trying to convince
Okay,
you. I'm
how
just
much
trying to tell you
voltage-
to try it
I'm-
and see what you think.
Now, from a utility perspective, how much energy are we talking about? How much voltage can we get out of this? Can I run a
I'm not
flashlight?
talking about you can hold and power a flashlight, but I can power a clock with a potato. It's a fifth grader can power a clock with a potato.
Right. Yeah.
So we have been
Can you
miseducated,
use
and we
a
have
bunch
been
of potatoes to power an air fryer and make some French fries?
in theory, probably, but you would probably need a state-size warehouse of potatoes. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We've I think there has been technology utilizing stuff in the past, and we have in the past 200 years taken that technology, the word that we use for it now, and that we have marketed it so that I mean Tesla wanted to give away freaking if Tesla in the parallel universe right next to us where Thomas Edison didn't win and Tesla won, we wouldn't have an electricity bill. Okay,
right.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so I will straight up admit, I've heard about Tesla doing wireless energy before, and maybe you can do, and you know what, I could do wireless transfer of energy from the little QI pad to my phone. It uses magnets, and it transfers by magnetism or whatever. But I don't know how Tesla's stuff worked. But I do know this. I do know that. Oh, okay, but I do know that fossil fuels are more energy dense than anything else we have.
That's another lie that they told us in school. It's another one that they told us in school that we all believe. Oh, we only have a certain amount of fossil fuels and only the dinosaurs and we only have a certain amount, blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Oil is every freaking where.
We have, there's a ton of it, but it's dense, which means that you can take it and take a certain volume of it and move it places and use it and get more out of it than if you took like a bucket of coal or whatever else we can convert into energy. And every kind of energy that we have essentially is just heating up water and spinning a turbine. Except
no, not really.
Maybe a dam.
We've got other things.
Spins the turbine with water.
We've got other things that are very interesting that you might not know because you don't look at shit like this, and I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, have you ever heard of ferrofluids?
No, I haven't heard of ferrofluids.
We also have a metal that they have found. Okay. Quotes. They have a metal. You can look this up. That when you put it in hot water, it becomes malleable, and then when you put it in cold water, it springs back to its original shape immediately.
Okay.
And if you do this enough times, it remembers and gets faster and gets. Strengthens itself. So they have been working on this for decades now of using this particular metal through water to generate energy just by putting it in hot and cold water over and over again, making it do what it does. And that can generate energy. So there's a lot of things out there that generate energy that we're like, oh, look what we discovered. Well, did we discover it? Or are we just rediscovering it?
Okay.
I'm crazy. I'm crazy.
No, it's not that. It's just we got some other stories to get through. Let's see.
We're running late.
Let's see. Let's do this. We talked about squatters earlier this week. Squatters. So DeSantis is signing a property rights law to combat squatters. You're not going to be able to commandeer somebody's private property and expect to get away with it. So we talked about this earlier this week where or maybe it was last week, especially after a Venezuelan social media psychopath. The dude was clearly a sociopath. You could see it in his eyes. He was basically saying, hey, you just move into somebody's house and change the locks and now you own it. Well, that kind of squatting stuff is being squashed in Florida. Oh, squashed. That's great. That's pretty good. So DeSantis in Florida.
I've talked about that particular thing with a couple of my friends in Ashley around here, and everybody's like the same. Everybody around here in this southern western Kentucky is the same. We're like, they wouldn't be there very long. If the cops wouldn't get them out, there'd be some good old boys that got them out. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Oh, Deke. occasionally you watch a movie and it is traumatizing. Would you agree? Occasionally.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Mist.
Now, I love The Mist. It's
I
great.
know you suck. That movie is the worst movie.
Okay.
Ever made.
All right. So one for me, a traumatizing movie was when I was 10 years old and we watched Shocker, which was a movie about a convict. that got electrocuted.
Shocker.
Completely freaked me out. Yeah. But I have to say, on an entirely different level, there's a movie that I saw once and I was like, I am never watching that again. Not ever.
The Mist.
American History X. Did you ever watch American History
I like that
X?
movie. I really like that movie.
God. Edward Norton plays a neo-Nazi.
Crazy.
Bonkers.
The one part in that movie that
that's
what I was going to say. That's the one part in that movie that everybody remembers because it was so
graphic, violent, visceral.
But you didn't see it, but it was.
You put it in. You get the before, the after, and you're like, or you get the setup, and you can just imagine, and oh my god, it is. Okay, so did you know that movie is based on a real life guy?
No.
Yeah, it turns out there's a person who inspired American History X. He's now a former neo-Nazi, and this is kind of one of those things that falls in the category of like, oh, that's quirky and funny, but it's actually not funny. It's just like, oh, that's interesting. A former neo-Nazi who inspired American History X is now an observant Jew after he did a 23andMe test.
Huh.
Where's it at? Here it is. Yeah. He used to be a neo-Nazi and now he's got one of those little hats on his head and he goes to yarmulke. And he goes to pray 3 times a day. And this is Frank Mink, he used to be the notorious neo-Nazi from American History X. His journey to faith is an example of growth and highlighted throughout the movie, in which Edward Norton plays the former neo-Nazi. In his former life, Mink was espoused extremist views. He believed Jews to be the root of all evil, and he led his own white supremacist group and had a swastika tattooed on his neck. But he found himself in prison and began to kind of question his beliefs and kind of had a reckoning. Who are you to judge the world? You're an effing criminal, a drunk. And that day I was like, I'm done. I'm out. Later on, he explained he was prompted to take a 23andMe test to find out after a friend said, hey, you look a little Jewish. And then after he took the test, he discovered he has 2.4% Ashkenazi. How do you say this word?
Whatever. I don't care.
Whatever. Yeah, he's 2.4% Jewish. And he was like, wow.
Ooh, that's so much. Ooh, let's change our lifestyle. 2.4%.
Yeah, but look, I mean, he went from
I've got more Native American than that in my blood. I've got more Cherokee than that in my blood, and I don't wear a headdress. I don't try to claim that I'm Native American like Elizabeth.
Well, look, the guy didn't have anything to attach himself to, and that what he did attach himself to was hatred and good. Okay, I didn't look at it that way. Good. Okay, yeah. So maybe you needed something to detach from.
That's fine.
Something else to attach to.
Cool.
And but you know what it also shows? It shows that really, really violent, bad people can have a moment in their life where they are reformed and changed, or can aspire to. Okay. I just thought it was interesting.
Since my website's pulling up ads and it's slowing you down. I have since we're talking about movies, I have another story here for you about movies that I ran across this morning. And I thought, yes, he's exactly right. I've been saying this for years. And it seems like society is just now picking up over the past 5 years on how awesome the stories are in video games. Okay, because we've had Last of Us and we've got the Fallout and we've got all these other video game stories that are being made into movies and stuff. And Jack Black has said he can't believe that Rockstar games like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption haven't received film adaptations. And I 1000% agree. Now, Grand Theft Auto series would be one of those rated R hardcore series. It would be, but both of those I have played.
Grand Theft Auto like 2 or 3 or whatever, like 15 years ago. And I remember you drive around, you stop, a hooker gets in the car shakes a little bit.
I've beat every Grand Theft Auto game. And I've beat
really?
both Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 multiple times on both of them.
My brother's into that stuff.
Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 are probably to me, is the epitome of a video game. There's everything else is below it. I compare every video game I play to those games. It's so freaking grand, I think. And I'm a Western, I love Westerns. Me and my granddad used to watch Gunsmoke, and he'd read Louis L'Amour and all this crap. So I love that crap. If they made the Red Dead Redemption, they'd have to start the story with 2. If they started the Red Dead Redemption, a TV show, with Red Dead Redemption 2, the story that's in 2, and then flowed right into 1 because 2 is a prequel, that TV show would not only be one of the most watched TV shows, it would definitely be 10 seasons, at least 10 seasons worth of story in both of those video games. Oh my God, yes. There is I have got over like 13 or 1400 hours playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I've beat Red Dead Redemption 1 like 3 times. And this is number 2. I've got like 1378 or something hours it comes up.
That's a lot of hours. Dude.
Have not.
That's like 2 months.
I've still not done everything in that freaking game.
Right.
Still not done everything in the game.
I think there's a real like opportunity, especially you got like a bunch of trash Star Wars TV shows that nobody really cares about. And you got Marvel superheroes kind of like burned out. I think there's an opportunity for like really good Western content. It's Americana, right?
All the Westerns that's come out over the past 20 years have all been pretty good. Even Cowboys versus Aliens was pretty good. I liked that.
Yeah, that was a fun movie.
Yeah, that was good. It was.
But we do have Tombstone coming this year, right? So that's going to be something. I'm your Huckleberry. All right, dude. We need to wrap this up, dude.
I'm sorry for the lewd gesture. I love you.
Yeah. Do you got a music thing today?
Yeah, I put music in there. I forgot to type it up over here.
Okay.
Music today is 7 Mary 3. Do you remember 7 Mary 3? You remember hesitate is cumbersome. Do black or two, white, two wrong or two right, two rock or two.
Yeah, I think I remember that a little bit.
Cumbersome. Well, that was a big song from them in the 90s. They kind of faded away. They really weren't a one-hit wonder because I think their song Water's Edge didn't get a lot of it didn't get a lot of radio play because they had it says fucking game in there and they had to kind of beep it out, and you didn't have a lot of that crap back then, but it didn't get a lot of radio play. But it is a fantastic freaking song, Water's Edge by 7 Mary 3. It's one of those story songs where he witnesses a murder and he can't talk about it down by the water's edge. It's really cool. So
I think I know that song. I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Yeah, you do. It was a 90s. I'm doing 90s this week, so just random 90s songs this week just because I didn't have a theme. So so there you go. There's our song today.
So Deacon, The Invisible Man. I feel like there's a movie about the Invisible Man where he's kind of a criminal, kind of a wasn't a good guy. Maybe it was Kevin Bacon one. I don't know. So the Invisible Man turned down a job offer.
Yeah.
Do you know why the Invisible Man turned down a job offer?
I'm scared to ask.
Yeah. He just couldn't see himself doing it.
We're going to have to, seriously, we've been saying this for 2 years. You ended up buying a book.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Right. How do you milk a snake?
Put an X on that one. How do you milk a snake?
Yeah. How do you milk a snake?
I don't know. How do you milk a snake?
Well, first you get a very small stool.
I'm
sorry, that was a good. I'll always like that.
That's pretty good. All right, folks. Look, tomorrow morning is Good Friday.
Cancel the show. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye. Talk to Jesus and your mom.
opinions lying left and right. You can help us bring facts into the light. Don't let your daughter lose her next swim meet.
Hey, Joey, come be on the
to
show.
a psychopath dude with fake teeth. Tune in now to your Tune That Show. JJ and Deacon, they're the ones that know. Subscribe quick, the Squid Monster's on the way. Conspire with us, tomorrow's news today.
Oh, yeah.
Company value of this show is skyrocketing. I'd invest in your two dads.